What's up, YouTube homies? So today we're going to be talking about the rivet lock Leuku. So this has been in the makings for quite a long time, and it's finally sort of the first prototype is here. I started adding basically what you could call a guard and a pommel or a bolster. I don't really know what you would call that. To the nice, actually a nice little addition here. Let's see if we can see that on the. I don't think you can see that. I don't really have too many places to film in the shadows when it's so sunny. But this is the rivet lock Leuku, and yeah. So like as I was saying. On the rivet lock bulk or mediums, I started adding, and the longs, I started adding a guard and then a pommel. Because the thing is, what I've noticed with a lot of knife handles in the market is that you don't really have anything in the back protecting the knife. If you drop the knife on the ground and it's just, it's a full scale or whatever, and you hit the pommel, those scales could easily split apart. Because people don't rivet. Generally, they don't rivet their scales in. They might use screws, but screws are very brittle, so screws can actually crack and break too. So a lot of times people are just relying on glue, and I mean, you can't fault them if they don't test their knives. If it, if it's not really like a heavy duty knife, then it's fine. Kitchen knives, for example. But when you don't have a metal pommel like this, then you can do quite a lot of damage to the pommel of your knife. And with the paracord handled knives, I noticed with some of the older ones, what would happen is it would fray here because it's it's sticking out of your waistband or something, and you lean into a machine or you're scraping against walls and stuff or some equipment or whatever, and you start to fray the paracord at the back and you start doing damage there. So I started feeling like it was very important to have some kind of metal exposed at the back. And the beautiful thing with the paracord is that now you actually have like a perfect place to put it, right? It's bound in there, limited by the pommel and the guard. So first what I started doing is I started adding the guards, and they felt really nice. But the problem that I had with the guard is if my hands are in here and I start to move my hand forwards, it would pull the handle out of my hand. So I started feeling like I really need something at the back. So I started to feel like as though you can't really have one without the other, and sort of it completes the package, and it doesn't add a lot of weight, and it just makes the blade overall feel much more balanced. Man, this is really terrible. I'm gonna have to find it better. So it's got a bit of scratching on it. I've been playing around with it. It's a type of spring steel that I got from a local blacksmith. And it's like a high vanadium spring steel. So it's very similar to 5160, but it has a lot of vanadium in it. And that should make a massive impact on edge retention. Oh shit, it's covered in hairs. So, very nice blade. I don't have like the dimensions for it yet, but it feels very good in the hand. And it's basically a Leuku, and Leukus are just like this generally. They don't have like this sort of American drop point, Bowie style drop point. I mean, you can see a lot of influence from Bowie knives in there, and sort of Australian themed outback knives where they have this kind of guard, this kind of profile, but it's got a Leuku. It's got the Leuku engine on it. Ow. And then here's your rivet lock. So the sheath is a bit of a disaster. I didn't want to use, black or green or some of the Kydex materials that I have for, all the production stuff. So I just grabbed red, which is kind of nice. You see, that rivet lock does work very well, albeit on this particular sheath, the rivet is a little bit too far back, so there's a very small amount of space behind the rivet and the guard for the Kydex to fit in. But even so, it works very good. It works very well. And part of the idea with this is to find some kind of clipping mechanism that I can attach. As you can see, oh my god, why does it keep darkening? as so I can like wear it like a backpack. So you have two sort of shoulder straps coming from here and there, and you can have it hanging on your back like this. I think that would be really cool. Right now I have an inside the waistband carry, which is really good. I can actually just show you right now. So let me just put this in my carry place. I call this the London draw. It's how the kids in England carry knives. So you see, just like that. And you see, again, we see very well how effective the rivet lock mechanism is at streamlining the entire profile of the knife to be very sleek against the body. The sheath is not sticking up out and over the handle, doubling or tripling the width of the entire profile. So here we have it, very nice, and you can draw your blade. So I made, on this particular rivet lock Leuku, the distance between the guard and the pommel are actually wide enough so that I can wear it with gloved hands. So there is a bit of space at the back. On my rivet lock book on mediums, I like it when it's tight. I like it's a little bit shorter because I like it when there's a very tight fit in there. But you know, with this kind of knife, you're probably going to be wearing gloves with it at some point. So I got a nice little extra distance there, and when I chop, I actually hold on to it like this as well. So, but yeah, this is the London draw. That's how the kids in England carry knives, basically. And also, as you can see, I got my trusty scalpel. I have so many different names mumbling up in my mouth. The peak, all these different names. So I'm using the pocket clip on there very effectively. See, you can barely see that it's there. And then that's the London draw style sheath for the Leuku. So very cool overall. The blade performs pretty nice. I was just chopping some wood the other day and shaving. I don't have any hair on my arms and legs anymore. So yeah, that's really it. This is just the number 1, 001. It's forged from a round stock. It's you know, you need a power hammer for that. It's a lot of work. It's very nice steel. On this particular blade, I actually tempered it very high temperature because, you know, for me, a knife primarily has to be as tough as possible. It can't shatter, it can't snap. Those are the things that I primarily want to avoid because, you know, it's nice to have a super alloy, mega, magna cut, whatever steel, but is it really all that great if you're worried about it shattering when you're batoning or something because it's so brittle? And generally, the higher your carbon content, the more brittle the steel is, and the less it can handle impact. So there is an ideal zone, I think, for knives, and that's somewhere in the 0.6-0.7% carbon, because that you'll never notice the difference between the edge retention on something like that and a higher carbon steel. Like, only very few people really can, like pro chefs that have played with kitchen knives their whole lives. So, and it makes it a lot easier to sharpen a knife. And on a Leuku, especially something like this, when you got a lot of metal on the edge to mess around with on the stones, it's better that it's not a 65 Rockwell hardness. Because if you hit a stone, if it's a 65 Rockwell hardness, you know, you got an Iogami Super or whatever, and you hit a rock in a stomp, it's going to take a long time to fix that up. So you got to be careful how you treat these knives. But it's a lot easier to maintain, and it's not going to snap on you. You know, this is homogeneous spring steel. It's not sanmai. It's not going to warp on you. This is as strong and as tough as it's going to get. So I got a pretty high temper on this, but it's testing at 58, 59 Rockwell hardness. So even though I got a really high temper on it, it actually came out with a really high degree of hardness as well, which is good. So there it is, folks. There's your rivet lock Leuku 001, and there's more coming, and they're only going to get better. Peace out. See you later.